Sorry, boys. Sorry for the delay.
BoxingVoice.com, we're here with promoter Eddie Hearn after a thrilling, sensational victory for his fighter, Darren Barker. Eddie, as usual, I love it when one of your fighters wins because you're just as happy as them. Tell us about what's going on through your mind right now.
Oh, I felt he won the fight, and when you come away, and it's not really anything to do with being in America or anything like that, but you sometimes feel as though if you've got it by a round or two, you might not get it, and I felt we got it by a round or two, maybe three. And to be honest, when I heard the final score, I was expecting them to say, and still. And when they said, and new, it was just an amazing feeling, No one deserves it more than Darren Barker.
Now, 8th round, tell us what's going through your mind. Barker takes that body shot, and it looks like it might be over. I mean, what was going through your mind? What were you thinking at that point?
The difference is that Darren Barker's dedicated his not only his life, but the last 14 weeks, the tunnel vision to win this fight. And I saw him on the floor at 7, and I was like, is he going to get up? And when he got up, I just felt, wow, maybe he's going to win this fight. And he turned it round, he come back, and he won the last part of that round, He showed tremendous heart, and from there he boxed beautifully in 9, 10, 11. I gave him, all those rounds, and 12 I had it like that. But just lost for words. I mean, he's the first fighter I ever signed, and he nearly quit last year. He's been hard work, and he's been through a lot, and we've had to pull him out of the hole a lot of times, but it's all worth it now.
Well, obviously, talk about you coming here, Atlantic City, America. I mean, you've been here a few times. You've brought some of your fighters over here. Disappointment in world title fights. Darren Barker finally gets one here. I mean, you're big in England, obviously. You came to America, and you finally got a world title on HBO. I mean, tell us what that feeling is for you.
Well, it's more a feeling for Darren. I'm more pleased for Darren than myself. We get a lot of stick about bringing fighters to the US to take shots. And, obviously Reese got beaten quite, comfortably by Broner. Purdy got beaten. There was a last-minute replacement for Kell Brook. But, and people say, oh, why do you send fighters to America? This is why we send fighters to America, to win world titles on HBO. Do you know what I mean? This is what dreams are made of. I want to be one of those people that, took chances and had the fighters who believe they can do it, because every now and again, something like that's going to happen. And when that happens, it changes your life forever, And that's what life's all about, taking chances. If you believe you can do it, we had belief in Darren, he believed in himself. Gil was the fight he wanted so badly, and we delivered it for him, and he's just delivered in spades tonight.
Did you have any worry when the count was going,
Yeah,
that he might get counted out, being that this is a Gary Shaw card?
I mean, are you talking about the judges' score?
Yeah, just the judges' score card.
I felt like Darren won it by 1 or 2 rounds. 3 maybe, but again, I'm scoring the fight thinking how they might be scoring the fight. He's the champion. It's not just about going into people's backyards. It's about, you've got to rip the belt off the champion. You've got to deserve to win. It can't be like, if it's then you give it to the champion. So really, when I heard 114, 113 Gil, 116, 111 for Barker was wide. 5 rounds, And then when I heard 114, 113, I just had the feeling that it was for Gil. And when I heard the new, can't believe it. I went nuts again, but
Well, his trainer, Coach Sims, said if he wins the title here, big domestic fights back home.
Yeah.
Andy Lee, Matthew Macklin, Martin Murray. I know he's got Sturm as a mandatory, but I mean, what is the path for Darren Barker after this?
The path is, firstly taking some time out. We're going to have a co-promotional agreement moving forward with Gary Shaw and HBO hopefully as well. Felix Sturm is the mandatory for the IBF, so we would like to take care of our duties for the IBF. That's a big fight in London. He's beaten Matthew Macklin and he's drawn with Martin Murray. So, it's just a dream come true. Of course, people are going to talk about Golovkin, people talk about Quillen. And, they're all fights that we can make. This is going to make huge waves back in the UK for Darren Barker, in terms of our UK broadcaster. So we've got to think about that as well. Speak to HBO, speak to Gary. But this is a sweet, sweet moment.
Is there a mandatory rematch for Gale, or
no?
Is that why you're talking about the co-promotion with Shaw?
I mean, they can choose to have the rematch, but we've got to take care of Sturm first. So we'll have a fight in the meantime if Gil looks at the rematch, then we'll look at the numbers and see where it works.
Now you have the flexibility on our air to go between Showtime, to go between HBO. And obviously you mentioned Quillen. I'm sure it's too soon, October date, and AC again, because B-Hop's here October 26th.
Darren Barker won't be fighting October.
Won't be fighting October 26th?
No,
right. Just wondering. Just wondering.
Yeah. Look, we're going to review all the options, and at the moment, just about enjoying it. And I can't believe he's world champion. I always knew he could do it, but there were so many times when I just thought, we're never going to get there, or he's picked up another injury. He had hip surgery after Martinez. Then he came back and busted his bicep before the fight. And then it was over. He was quitting, and we begged him to come back, and he did it. And he's shown so much determination to this fight, and so much focus, and that's why he got up from that body shot. He said in the interview with HBO, he just kept thinking about his late brother and his daughter, and that made him get up. And it's that quit moment where sometimes you quit and sometimes you don't, and he didn't quit, and it paid off.
Now, you mentioned it a few times. A fight with Gennady Golovkin has to be big enough. How big does it have to be to you? I mean, what is Golovkin-Barker? How big does it have to grow for you to make that fight?
Well, it has to be a multi-million-dollar purse for Darren Barker. Look, Darren Barker will fight anyone, as any fighter would. Gennady Golovkin is the hardest fight in the middleweight division, bar none. Therefore, you've got to be rewarded for it financially. If the terms are right, he'd fight him. Well, maybe not tomorrow because he's a bit better, but he would fight him next. But obviously, my aim is we've just won the belt. I want to defend the belt, and I want to take him out to big fights, fill stadiums. Whether it's here or in England, of course. But so many options, in a wonderful division.
And something people might not have been mentioning, they throw out Golovkin, they throw out Quillen, but Barker fought hard against Sergio Martinez.
Yeah, that's a fight.
And I want to know because the way Sergio looked against Martin Murray, he's got a belt now.
Yeah.
Sergio's going to come back next year.
Yeah.
Is that a fight that possibly Darren Barker will come back here for?
Definitely, he's already talked. They spoke a lot before this fight. Sergio was texting Darren, wishing him all the best, and egging him on to win the fight, and that's the fight we love, Martinez.
There you have it, baby.
All right.
Eddie Hearn.
Cheers.